Hi everyone, it's Tatyana from Tatyana's Everyday Food, and welcome back to my breakfast and brunch mini series. Today I'm going to be making for you guys triple chocolate scones, and I absolutely love these. These come together so easily, and they're the perfect way to kick off a weekend. You can make these in the morning for your family, and they are going to devour them. They are so good. And what I like about this scone recipe is that it's so flexible. If you're not too fond of chocolate, you can really mix it up and make your own. Add some dried fruit, some dried nuts. So it's a really great recipe just to keep on file for any future get together. So let's get started on this recipe. My first step is to combine all my dry ingredients in a large bowl. So I have here 2 cups of all-purpose flour. To this, I'm gonna add 1/3 cup of white granulated sugar. We're gonna add a pinch of salt. And then I'm gonna add 1 teaspoon first of baking powder. And I'm also gonna add 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. And now I'm ready to add my butter. So I have 1/2 cup of butter that I've cut into smaller pieces, and you wanna keep this refrigerated and as cold as possible prior to adding it to the flour. So I'm gonna add it into the flour. I'm gonna take a pastry cutter and just really work the butter into the flour until it resembles fine crumbs. So this process will take just a few minutes, but if you don't have a pastry cutter, you can always use like a knife and fork technique, or you can use frozen butter and just grate it straight into the flour. And that's actually also a really easy technique. At this point, I'm gonna make a small well in the middle of my bowl. I'm gonna add my 1 large egg, and then we're also gonna be adding 1/2 cup of sour cream. I'm just gonna scoop everything into the center here as well. And I'm also gonna add about 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. It's gonna add a little bit of flavor. I'm just gonna take my spatula and really work everything together until it comes together into a soft dough. At this point, I'm ready to add my chocolate. So I have a little bit of semi-sweet chocolate chips. I have some milk chocolate chips, and then I broke up 1/2 a bar of white chocolate. And we're gonna add all this in at once. I'm just gonna use my hands to really work it into the dough and make sure that that chocolate is evenly distributed throughout. I'm gonna sprinkle my work surface with just a little bit of flour. You don't want too much. I'm gonna turn my dough out onto my work surface, and we're gonna shape it into a large flat disc. I like to add a little bit of large sugar granules to the top of my scones for a little bit of sweetness and texture. And the first step is just adding a very, very light coat of water to the top, and this is gonna help the sugar crystals adhere to the top. So once you brush the top of your scones, we're just gonna sprinkle this over the top. I'm gonna take a large sharp knife, and I'm gonna divide my dough into 8 pieces. I'm gonna cut it as I would a pie. So just slice it down the middle, and then to the middle again. I have my oven preheating to 375 degrees. I also have a large baking sheet that I've placed a sheet of parchment paper onto, and now I'm just gonna use a pie spatula and lift my scones onto my baking sheet. So just slide it gently underneath. I'm gonna transfer it onto my cookie sheet here. And now these are ready to go into the oven. So we're gonna place them into our preheated oven, and we're gonna bake them until they're nice and golden brown on the top. I just took my scones out of the oven, and they look so great and they smell amazing. So now I'm just transferring them from my pan onto a cooling rack, and you just wanna let them cool completely here. Absolutely love to enjoy these straight out of the oven while they're still warm with a cup of coffee. But if you'd like to, you can just let them cool off a little bit and then melt some semi-sweet chocolate and drizzle it over the top. And now it's time to give these a try. And I absolutely love to eat them warm because you break them apart and you still have that ooey gooey chocolate on the inside. And I love that these are so moist and they look so fluffy when you break them apart. These are so good straight out of the oven. They're still warm. That melted chocolate just hits your mouth and it just tastes so good. And I actually really like the extra sugar granules on the top. They add a little bit of like this crunchy texture to the scones. They're so delicious and perfect with a cup of coffee. I really enjoy these because these are perfect for a special breakfast. Like if you really want to impress your family, and they're so easy to make too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video recipe. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You'll get updates every time I post new video recipes. And of course, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, and if you make this recipe, make sure to share it with me.